And we want to give you some updates and legal analysis on the Ryan Routh trial. Day one today. He is alleged to try to kill President Donald Trump in an assassination attempt there alone. And now he is at his own trial, going at it alone, defending himself. So let's talk about that and so much more here in this trial. Let's bring up our next guest here on Live Now from Fox, John Day, legal analyst. Great to have you on. And John, yeah, this is a moment where we have the defendant acting as his own attorney and already some fireworks already today.
Right. Well, thanks for having me. And this just highlights the old expression that, he who defends himself has a fool for a client. I mean, this was look, this defendant has an agenda. He doesn't, the most important thing for him is getting his message out, as convoluted and as twisted as it is. And so he's fired his public defenders. He is trying to appear in court by himself. The judge in this case has ordered lawyers on standby. It's not going to end well for him.
And how much leeway can they give here? Because it seems like already the court is getting upset with his antics.
Right. Well, we're just starting jury selection, which looks like it'll take several days. But right out of the gate, he has been trying to do things like trying to subpoena President Trump to come to the trial. Well, the judge wouldn't allow that. He's got a long list of people he wanted to have as witnesses the judge wouldn't allow. Look, when there's a pro se defendant, in other words, pro se meaning someone who's representing themselves with no lawyer, judges give them a little leeway, but they're also held to the same standards as anybody in court. So while they're not lawyers, they're expected to follow the rules of the court and the decorum rules of the court. And overall, the judge is going to say, look, I'm going to give you a little bit of breathing room here, but we're not going to let you engage in antics. We're not going to let you use this as a soapbox for getting out a message. I mean, you are charged with a very specific, discrete crime, which is trying to assassinate a president. And so this is not an opportunity for you to spread your message around the world.
Yeah. And I mean, how hard is it for the prosecutors to have to really go through this? And you're just seeing this defendant who really does have an agenda. I mean, he was trying to push the Gaza war today on these jurors and really everything in between, talking about, what would happen? How would you feel if a turtle was in the street? Just bizarre stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it is bizarre stuff. It does happen. There are times when you have defendants who are so delusional that they think that they can do a better job than competent defense lawyers. And in this case, even the judge has pointed out he had very competent public defenders, federal public defenders, who are very, very good in trial. And so he didn't want those lawyers. The judge has ordered them to be on standby, which is the smart thing to do. But at the end of the day, and in the final analysis, this is not, I mean, he is not going to convince a juror, even of the 12 jurors, is he going to convince anybody that he is innocent? And he may not even care if he convinces them if he's innocent. He may want to go down in his mind with the glory of having tried to assassinate President Trump. The judge, at the end of the day, the judge is not going to let him get away with any kind of courtroom shenanigans.
And we are expecting possible opening statements on Thursday. I mean, do you think he is even going to be able to do his own opening statements by that time?
Right. Well, he clearly has some, this is going to be part of his message, part of his strategy. The judge is going to allow a certain amount of leeway for him. But if the opening gets off into political statements, gets off into ideological issues, she's going to rein him in, because the opening simply is a roadmap of where the evidence is going to lead. The prosecutors have a roadmap that says he's guilty and here's how we're going to get there. The defense lawyers, if there had been defense lawyers in this case, would be trying to say, look, we're going to poke holes in the prosecutor's case. We're going to raise reasonable doubt. I mean, he doesn't have the experience or the skills or the knowledge to give an opening statement that would benefit him. And so if he tries to make it a political sermon, he's going to get shut down pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are thinking right now, that it's going to turn into, if he's possibly still able to do that on Thursday. And going back here to jury selection, I mean, what is it like for these potential jurors to be hearing questions from the actual defendant? What's that process like?
Right. Well, normally in a trial, what happens is the prosecution, the defense, and the jury selection process, you hear from the lawyers. The lawyers are asking questions. It depends what jurisdiction you're in, what court, what judge, but judges often give some leeway to the lawyers to ask questions when you're selecting or really deselecting jurors to hear a case. In this case, they're hearing directly from the defendant, so it's got to be a little unnerving because normally there's some distance, there's some space between the defense lawyer, for example, and the defendant or the client. In this case, they're hearing directly from the person who's charged with the crime. And so it's their first opportunity to judge this person, literally, to take their measure, to see how they are in court. And if he's coming across in any negative way, which, of course, if he's trying to push the boundaries here, most of these jurors are not going to react to that very well. So not doing himself any favors. It gets back to the idea that was a very ridiculously stupid idea to say, I want to represent myself, unless your goal is to get convicted and go down in what you think is the flames.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this in so many times in these high-profile cases where defendants, they want to defend themselves. I mean, even look at the case there of Ted Bundy back in the day where, he thought he was above even lawyers. He thought he was smarter than the lawyers himself.
Well, Ted Bundy was actually a lawyer, which, right. Never did the legal profession much good having that in the background there. But Bundy was a lawyer who was exceptionally smart and evil at the same time, which is why he was able to get away with as much as he did in that period of time. Routh is not that. He has not got the knowledge, the courtroom skills, the training, the concepts of law and what works in front of a jury and what doesn't. I mean, he really just has this one track of, I want to get my message across. I'm a hero in my own mind. I mean, he's not incompetent to stand trial. Remember, he's standing trial because he is able to understand what's going on. He may have a worldview that's outside everybody else's norm, and it led to, an attempt to assassinate a sitting president, which is a horrific concept. But he is going to be standing up there, not only in jury selection, but when the trial begins and the opening statement, and he's going to be trying to figure out, is there any daylight between what the judge is going to allow him to do and this distorted message he wants to get across to the world?
Yeah, so true. John, thanks so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox, giving us some great details day one as we continue to look forward to the rest of the week. Thanks so much. We appreciate it.